So this is day 1 of lockdown 2, and I've come down the plot to do some work. There's absolutely nobody else here, and as you can probably hear, the M5 still sounds just as busy. But from what I can see of over the fence line, it looks like the majority is probably lorries, but it still doesn't sound any quieter. So my plans for today are to cut back my tayberries and trim the currant bushes, to rip out where these butternuts were, because of course the foliage has got hit by the frost. So I've got 2 beds there to do and to probably cover. I think that's probably going to take longer than I think, but there's always other stuff I can do. Okay, I think I've changed my mind already. First of all, I'm going to wheelbarrow some leaves that have been dropped off in the bays, and I'm going to mulch my raspberry beds and my currant beds with the leaves, because that seems to work with mine. So this is my raspberry bed, and every year obviously I put more leaves on, but I don't know if you can see that the soil, I can see more of it. Now that might be because I planted some new plants in and disturbed it, but I do think it needs a new top dressing of autumn leaves on it. Well, that's one bed mulched. Took about, I don't know, I think it was about 5 wheelbarrow loads of leaves. Now I have this bed to do, and this one, and the bottom of the tayberries. A lot more wheelbarrows of leaves to go. Well, I just ran out of leaves. They're on that bed now. I'll have to wait for another delivery before I can do the other beds. So next I'm going to clear these beds of the squash frames and cover in black plastic. This is what I pulled off from the frames. One more bed to go. Well, this is the butternut squash frames that didn't survive. Look how the wind and the weight broke them. That one's not too bad, but this one kind of collapsed. So what have I learnt from those wonky squash frames? If you're going to build them stronger. Also, think about anchorage, because with the weight of all the fruit on there, the wind kind of blew it over and I had to tie it to the fence and tie it to other things. So if you're going to do something similar, think about how you anchor it. Yeah, I guess it did mean I could grow more in a smaller space. Would I do it again next year? Maybe. I'll think on it over this winter. But it's been a tough year for growing squash, so I'm not sure it's a true representation of what can be. Well, that's that bed cleared and covered. Hopefully that'll stop the foxes digging it up. So I've laid down the squash frames onto this bed, and now I've got to pull out the nasturtiums because they don't like the cold weather. Well, that's both beds cleared, but I need a bit more cardboard for the second bed. Look at all these nasturtium seeds in the bed and on the ground. I'm going to have fun pulling up nasturtium plants next year Look at these calendula seeds that I'd harvested. I didn't take them in, they got wet. And they're sprouting. Oops. I guess we had a frost. 2.5 minus 2.5. Well, I know we had a frost because of what the nasturtiums look like. Okay, so I'm going home now. After all that wheelbarrowing and clearing the beds, that's enough for today. I'll catch up on other things another day. Bye. So here we go with pruning the tayberries. I wonder how long it'll take. Okay, this is what I cut off or weeded out of the tayberries, and here is the end result. Now what I've done differently this time is I've tied most of them to this side and to here. What I'm hoping is that next year, as the new shoots come up, I will tie them in to this side that's empty, because I found last year I didn't tie in the new shoots and they just sprawled over everything. So we'll see if that works next year. Also, I don't know if you can see, the structure is on a little bit of an angle, so I need to strengthen it. But that'll do for now. So cutting back those tayberries and tying them in, 2 hours. Time flies when you're on the plot. So these nasturtium seeds on the ground here, I'm going to pick up some of them, and the calendula seeds that are starting to sprout that were in the pot, and I'm just going to sprinkle them under these tayberries and see if any of them grow. I just think it would look pretty to have calendula and nasturtiums there next year. So I've finished pruning and weeding this area, so under the cherry tree and around these currant bushes it's a lot better, and I can actually walk along this path, so that's looking so much tidier. Well, you can tell it's locked down because I've seen 2 other plot holders down here. Okay, not for as long as I have been, but it's nice to see a couple of other people. Not that they spoke to me, but you don't get much of that on this site. Well, I think after being down here for 3 hours, my back's starting to complain a bit. I'm going to go home. Although there's still sunlight, the sun is getting low and I've got plenty to do at home. So until next time, bye. Well, minus 3.1 last night. So I think it's been cold enough that I can start to dig up the parsnips. Okay, so today's supposed to be a lot of showers, but at the moment it's okay. There's a mixture of cloud and blue sky, so I'm going to try and get some weeding done. I'll show you the bed that I'm going to work on. This is the bed. It's got some swede in it, I'll leave that. I think there's garlic coming up, which was stuff I missed from last year, so I'll leave that. But like the nasturtiums have totally gone over. Any French beans, they need to obviously be pulled up. So most of the stuff will come out, but half the bed will still have a crop in it. From doing the weeding, I can see there's actually the odd 2 or 3 swede that are big enough to pick. Okay, as you can see, it's a lot more cloudy now. The sun's gone in. I've done the weeding. I've already been bitten by a bug. You just get that this time of year if you haven't got long sleeves on. But that's the bed. Looks a lot better. And it's just left with the swede and the garlic that I didn't even realise was in there. I think it might be Germador from last year. Oh well, we'll see how it grows. This is underneath my tayberries. Looks like something's been digging. Considering I've got the plot fenced, I think it's probably a fox. Thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Fox. Now I gotta fill it in. So that's one arch clear. Only 2 more to go. Well, I'm hiding in the shed again from the rain. Hopefully it'll be a short shower, because I've still got the rest of the beam frame arches to clear, and the rain's a bit too heavy to be sat out there pulling the remnants off. If it was a bit lighter, I'd just do it in the rain anyway. But yeah, that's the weather you gotta contend with at this time of year. So what do you do when it's raining? Do you have a shed you can hide in, or do you just have to use an umbrella, or do you give up and go home? So with it raining, oh dear, I've got to sit in the shed and eat chocolate. Okay, now it's only spitting a little bit, so back to taking the remnants of the beans off the arches. Well, I was pulling off the old beans and I think I pulled a bit too hard. The plastic mesh broke. Oops. Got to be a bit more gentle with it. Hot, tired, but satisfied. Look at this. Lots of lovely sieved compost. Well, time to go home now. I've weeded and cleared all 3 of the arches, so they are clear, ready for next year. But time's ticking on, so I'm going to go home. Bye for now. It might be blue sky now, but that sun is almost going down, so it feels later than it is. I'm gonna go home now. Bye for now.